I'm LaGretta Smith. I coach at Warren Central High School. I've been coaching there for 12 years now as the head coach. Previously, I was at Lawrence North for 8 years. Let's see, I have 3 state titles, 4 state runner-up titles, and got into coaching in 2004. Been coaching ever since. Personally, I've competed in 3 Olympic trials, but never made a team. So that's my history. Graduated from Long Beach State in California.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh. Look, I'm curious which events did you
Oh, in the
compete in?
400 hurdles. The 400
Oh,
hurdles. Yep.
yes.
And I'll give you years: 96, 2000, and 2004.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That
Hmm.
is dope.
Yeah. Didn't know it. So you walked away from the trials and said, if I can't get in myself, I'm gonna make me one.
No, I was training at Lawrence North, and the coach there's like, "Hey, do you want to coach?" And I was like, "I never thought about it," but that's how I got started.
Wow.
Mhm.
So give us some history with that, Coach. Did you start at, so you say you started at Lawrence Central coaching there?
Lawrence, I mean Lawrence North, Lawrence North,
Lawrence
Lawrence North.
North. So you started at
Uh-huh.
Lawrence North. Take us kind
Mhm.
of through that. So you started at Lawrence North, had one of the coaches say, "Hey, what do you think about coaching?" And then fast forward to how you ended up as one of the top coaches at Warren Central.
So as I said, I was training for the Olympic trials, and I was training at Lawrence North, and I trained with my husband and another high jumper, Steve Parker. And the coach Hillary, it was Hillary Church at the time, and she approached me and asked me if I thought about coaching. And I never saw myself as a coach. I never thought about coaching. I was like, oh man, kids just don't want to listen. And so I never thought about it. And then she convinced me to do it. I started in 2004, and like I said, I've been coaching since then. I still have a full-time job, and I would train during my lunchtime and then go back and train again after work. So it was
Wow.
a hectic schedule.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's an interesting way, Ian.
Yes.
But that's cool though. I like that. So now at Ellie, and you were there with, you had quite the staff when you were there because y'all won a couple titles. Am I correct?
Well, yeah, we won two. Mhm.
Okay. And then you decided I'm gonna go out on my own.
Not quite. I was happy. I was happy at Lawrence North. I was just coaching, being an assistant coach. And then the head coach at Warren at the time, he said, I'm retiring and I'm trying to find my replacement. So he came and he asked me, and I said I wouldn't leave Lawrence North unless I got a head coaching job. So the head coaching job opportunity came up, and I said, okay, I'm gonna try it. And I used to always say, well, if I had that team, I'd win state every year. And so then all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, put your money where your mouth is.
I know. Now, however, you did deliver some most,
It took a minute.
but you had that team and you still kept coming up with titles.
Good.
Yeah, it took a while, some building, but that's the fun part of it, is just trying to put parts and pieces together and
Mhm.
not just walk into a team that's already good.
Right. So tell us about that, the evolution of like your experience and how you've been able to build a great team, right? Because it's not just about, oh, we have all these great athletes, but there are a lot of
Hmm.
athletes that come into spaces with a lot of potential with the
Hmm.
right coaching, they can really excel. So how have you kind of shaped your programs? What's been your kind of, how have you gotten the eye for this is what this athlete may be good at, or this is how our team can really thrive and be successful?
I really started everything around the 400 and then build from around there, and have athletes just try different things, encourage them to do something that they may not like, but are particularly better at than what they like. I might like running the 100, but you're really better at running the 800. And
Mhm.
so trying to convince them to do something that may not be their favorite, but it turns out to be their best event.
Yes, yes.
So,
Now, I find that there's another question, another part of that. If you go
okay.
from the 400, how do you keep finding hurdlers and jumpers?
Yes.
That doesn't seem like most 400 runners are not hurdlers or jumpers. They like
Yeah.
sprinters. So, I mean, you have several state champion long jumpers, state champion hurdlers. I mean, it's got to
Well,
be.
I have a secret. I have a great jumps coach. My assistant, Stephen Smith, my husband, he's wonderful at coaching the high jump and long jump. So we just test them out. If find out if they have power, then maybe we should try long jump. If they're a little, if they have flexibility, then we'll try hurdles. But trying to have somebody hurdle who can't touch their toes is difficult. So we just kind of go from the little bitty things, the basics, and start from there.
One thing that we definitely noticed with your team, and I mean, granted, we can see with a lot of like coaches, we get to know each other, we see each other. But for your team, how do you cultivate that, team camaraderie, and just when you look at your team, you could tell everyone just really wants everyone to do well. They're cheering different spaces. So how have you cultivated that?
Well, that's a good thing if you see that from the outside, because it's not always that way, especially coaching girls. And
yeah.
I just try and say, when we go, act like you've been there. Act like you've done it before. Don't go out and just be crazy, and just let them know they're representing themselves, us, the school, the parents, everybody. So to just conduct themselves accordingly. As far as team camaraderie, we try and have some kind of team building thing to every year to just outside of track, get the girls together and get to know each other and have fun without having to work hard. So just basic little things to just keep them together, keep them motivated, because teenage girls don't always have that motivation.
Yeah. Now, what do you do in like the new people when you get like newcomers? How do you kind of cater to the needs of the newcomers plus the vets that you have?
The vets.
You seem to have people who just kind of show up out of nowhere.
I try and not always have to coach. And so I give my veterans the opportunity to quasi be a coach, to teach the younger ones how to do something, especially on hurdles, because they've done it for 4 years and they know. So I like to watch them teach the freshmen who've never hurdled how to hurdle. And so I give them that opportunity to coach, if you will, but to also teach and to be a leader. So try and develop a leader on the team, see if that leadership quality comes out.
I was just curious, like, throughout the season, we have a long season, a lot of different events. What is it that you all put in place to kind of make sure your athletes stay healthy? Because your team always shows up at state, whereas some other teams are breaking apart at state. Your team is like together, they're strong, everybody's healthy. What is it that you all are doing to keep them healthy throughout the year?
I go on the philosophy, less is more, because sometimes you feel like, they can do it. That they can run, 10 intervals, but really only 8 is needed. And so instead of just always pushing for that extra, I just like, hey, we're going to leave it at that. That was a great run. Let's go. And sometimes I call it quit time. If you run this time, we can quit. And so that gives them that extra motivation to, okay, hey, coach said we'll be done after this one if we give her this time. So just to make sure, like I said, just to go back, less is more, not always pushing, because as you said, the season is long. And we want them to be there in June. It's great to run fast in March, but if you can't hold it till June, it means nothing.
Right. That's so true. That's so true. So we talked about, teenage girls, they are definitely, you have to have a gift to coach them, but also how do you help them balance academics along with being an athlete? How do you help them keep that balance?
Oh, I tell them track is first. I'm just kidding. No, a school is always first, but also the cliches always come into play with athletics. You have to be able to manage your time. You have to be able to do all the things that you want to do. You have to have time to do your schoolwork, have time to do come to practice, have time to talk to your friends, have time to do your TikToks. And so being able to manage all those things are going to help you not only now in high school, but in life. So I just try and tell them time management is key, because, we always are going to get the short end of the stick when it comes to, I have prom. I got to get my hair done. I got to get my nails done. All of a sudden you're not coming to practice. And so just at the beginning of the season, we let them know, here's prom, here's spring break. We do expect you to practice on spring break unless your parents plan the trip to Tahiti or something, but just set that expectation early.
Now, we talked about some of those bigger competitions, like when you talk about like in March, running fast in March, they have the HSR meet. Next year, we'll have the top times meet in there. So getting prepared for these like big meets, how do you like help your kids mentally get ready for that? Because I know some kids are like they're in freak out mode. Oh, it's regionals. It's this. This person is jumping this, and they go through the whole gamut of everything. How do you keep them mentally sharp and ready to go?
I make every meet a big meet. So if it's a dual meet, it's a big meet. So that when we get to sectional and regionals, hey, it's just another meet. We've done this plenty of times. We competed against these girls plenty of times. So let's just go out. It's just another meet. And instead of just putting so much at the end of the season, I focus on throughout the season, making every meet is important. And my thing is finish the meets. So if you start at the 100, you got to run the 4x4, finish the meet.
I love that. Like a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you attract, and we joke about it all the time when we see you, Coach Smith, like, oh my gosh, one thing you all always have is jumpers and hurdlers. How do you attract new talent each year? Or is there anything that you kind of set a high standard expectation and just the reputation of you all, right? Is there anything strategic you do to attract new talent?
Ooh, that's a tough one. That's hard. I actually being a lay coach and not in the building, it makes it harder. So I really, really depend on the girls and bring a friend, and just, don't bring one because that one is going to quit. I need you to bring at least 3. And then we might keep one. But so I really depend on the girls to recruit for us and help them understand that it's not just you. So we need people on the team to support you. And so I kind of put that off on them.
Yeah, no, that's a good, because they know firsthand for sure.
Yep.
And they know who they want to be around. So
exactly.
So be like, nah, I don't deal with her. So okay, cool. We don't have her on the team.
I tell them, you don't have to be best friends. We just got to coexist.
Absolutely.
Can we coexist?
And it's like you said before, that's teaching them a life skill that they'll be able to use in the job world. Like you have to like somebody, but you have to pay your bills.
Yep. You're not going to always like your coworker sitting next to you. So
yes.
Now, speaking of coexisting, you've had a unique opportunity, the only one I've ever known, to have a complete family affair when it comes to track and field. It's you and the husband and all the kids, y'all all out here together. And you've won a title like that. How's that experience? I'm curious.
I call it my lifetime movie. I really do. It's God ordained, because there's only one year in this lifetime that I was going to have all 3 girls in high school together. And that was last year. And to win a state title with all 3 girls on the team and my husband and I coaching, it was nothing short of a miracle. And to top it off, to have Layla and Kira in an accident in February that same year. And it just,
wow.
Nothing more than that.
Wow. Talk about overcoming a setback. And who would have known that, right?
Right.
Wow.
I was out of town, and to get that phone call that, they were in an accident, and it was traumatic, but we got through it. And just being a head coach, it's not only were my kids on the bus, but the other kids on the bus. Now I have to be a head coach and make sure their parents are called, make sure, everybody knows. And so it's not just about me.
So would you say, and again, we know what we see and observe, but definitely want the viewers to know this component of you, which is another thing that we admire. Like, how do you balance coaching your kids with the other athletes? Now, we see it, even them calling you coach and not mom or dad, but how have you created that balance, even with how you engage with them compared to your other athletes on the team?
I think I had a lot of practice coaching my nieces first. I coached my 2 nieces, and I think they used to call me Aunt Lee. And then when I started coaching my kids, I had them call me coach, just to kind of not have that separation. Oh, well, that's her mom, that's her dad. And so I just said, just call us coach. And I try not to make sure, if anything, I'm harder on my kids than I am others. But then sometimes that's misconstrued, but my kids know my expectation. And I expect that if you want that expectation on you, I'll give it to you as long as you give me the results. So, and I put that expectation on anybody. If you want it, I give it to you. but you got to make sure you are sure of what you're asking because it's going to be difficult. But I think it's been hard, but at the same time, I'm really proud of how the girls are handling it. Not just my kids, but the other girls on the team. And I think at this point, they don't notice any difference.
That's great.
Now tell us, I'm curious, like I'm thinking about like some of your past kids. You're sending kids to school. They're at Purdue, at Texas Christian. Like, what are some of your success stories that you could share from maybe even this season? Because you've had some newcomers that I haven't seen before. And I'm like, I know they're going to school places, but so what do those look like? Some of your success stories, some of the things that make you go, I'm glad I'm still coaching.
I just start from when they come in as a freshman. And we call them Squirrely Bird freshmen. And then just to watch them grow and leave and go to college. And it's wonderful when they call and say, hey, coach, can you go with me on this recruiting visit? Okay, love it. I think Promise Hoosier, we went on all 5 of her trips to her across the country. And so it's great when they invite you in as part of the family. And you sit there and I just say, I'm just another parent, and we help as coaches. We see this over and over again, whereas parents, they might see it once or twice and it's new to them. We know what to ask and they'll say, oh, I didn't think of that. So I just kind of help the parents and ask the probing questions that they might be missing. But as far as success stories, just I mentioned Promise. She tore ACL in September and then came back that same year and was state champion in long jump. Kasia Talley, another state champion. Kaylin Jackson went on to play volleyball. But she was 2-time state champion. Jyla Vaden, long jumper, went on to Purdue. Layla Smith, my daughter's at TCU, all these state champions. And Stacia Weatherford from back in the day, and LN. And of course, the bronze medalist, Ashley Spencer, can't forget about her.
Yes, absolutely.
From years ago. So it's great. I try and get a photo with all of them and a school lanyard. So I collect their school lanyards.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Now, just one of the questions that when you said something, you were talking about you asked the probing questions. What is one of the most common questions that a lot of parents miss that you like to ask those college coaches?
Some of them probably, they don't ask about their coaching style. The coach's coaching style, because for 4 years they're used to the high school coach's style and the bad questions. What's going to get me kicked off the team? And I do that for the athletes so that they know, hey, keep it in line. Another common question that they miss is just the schedule of the day. When will I practice? What things like that.
That's a good one. What's gonna get me kicked off the team?
That is, because you get to college and you got a different type of freedom,
right? You need to know that boundary. Okay, you get close to the ledge here.
Yes. It could also be you're not performing.
Well, when we go, everybody's always putting the rolling out the red carpet and showing the wonderful things, but they're still teenagers, and
for sure
they're waiting to get out of their mom's house.
You got to remind them you don't want to be staring back at your mom's wall.
Exactly.
You didn't make it.
Right.
Man. Well, that's cool that y'all do all that with the kids. That's impressive. I haven't heard of any other coaches like being that involved, getting invited on visits, and then to really come up with the good questions.
Well, we tell them I'll be as involved as you want me. If you just want me to be on the sideline and be a resource, ask questions, that's okay too. You want us to be on the phone when you have that recruiting visit or be in the house, we'll be there.
I love that. Well, Coach, we want to thank you for joining us.
No problem.
We
Thanks
appreciate your time. It only took us 9 months to get you, but that's okay.
Well,
we still trying.
It was worth the wait.
Yes.
For sure.
Oh, well, I hope I gave some good content.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely. That was good stuff there.
Okay.
And you didn't need any questions. You were just rolling.
At all. Like, I got this.
Right.